Hey everyone, it's Kagami over here. So I've been playing a lot of Set 11 TFT over on the PBE, and I figured leading up to the launch of the set on the live patch, I would go ahead and go through some of my favorite traits that are coming out in this set and kind of to break down how some of them work, some of the comps you can do, and give you guys a little more knowledge so that leading up to the patch, you guys can be armed with a little bit more knowledge. And for this first video, I'm gonna be talking about probably my favorite of the new traits, Mythic. So how Mythic works is that you get health, ability power, and attack damage. It's a 3, 5, 7, 10 composition. So you can see the numbers displayed right at the top there. After 4 player combats, the Mythic units will become epic, which increases the bonus by 50%. So instead of 10% and 1280 AP, you will get plus 15% health and 1880 AP, so on and so forth for each of the numbers. It's very reminiscent of Set 4's Warlord trait, with the difference being that Warlords required you to win the combat, whereas with Mythic, you only have to field the unit for 4 player combats for it to be epic. The units in this synergy consist of 1 cost Kog'Maw Cho'Gath, 2 cost Nico, 3 cost Bard, Urda and Tahm Kench, 4 cost Lily and Nautilus, and 5 cost Hui. So there's a lot of really cool things about this comp. My personal favorite is that it has a really high sustain build path because there are so many Gunblade users in this composition. Spatula options also give you a lot of higher potential ceilings. You can make an emblem using a spatula plus a tier, and that's like fairly easy to get access to. And then one of the best pros is that Hui allows for recovery in the late game because of his innate artist class. So the artist class will create a special hex in the center of your bench, and after a certain number of after each player combat, if there's a unit inside that spot, it increases the turn counter by 1. And if the turn counter matches the cost of the unit that is on that bench, it will create a duplicate of that unit. So if you put a 3 cost in the artist slot, after 3 turns, you will then get a copy of that 3 cost, so on and so forth, which allows for a lot of really cool recovery, because then you can kind of hold lots of high cost units, and then if you're able to stabilize, you can just kind of print out really high value units in the late game. A couple of cons though is that outside of the damage, you're going to really need to maximize the DPS with a lot of tank items. Biggest issue being that Gunblade sustain build compositions require the front line to live for a really long time. Otherwise, it falls off really fast because there's no point to sustain if your tanks are going to die immediately. An important thing to remember is that becoming epic requires 4 fights, so you can't just pivot into the composition immediately. You're gonna have to kind of plan a little bit in advance, otherwise the bonuses don't come into effect fast enough for epic. And I've been talking a little bit about the Gunblade synergy with this composition, but another slightly concerning issue is that Bard is the only like AD scaling champ in this comp, which means that a lot of your damage is magic damage. So Dragon's Claws, Ionic Sparks, they're going to completely wreck your comp. Here's a couple of sample comps that you can build. These are like little level 8, like what you expect to be hitting strategies that you'll want. Particularly there's compositions revolving around playing 7 Mystic, obviously, where you can get Alawi to cover your Warden and your Arcanist. Alternatively, you can play around a potential invoker line where you field 2 additional invokers and only play Mythic 5. Both builds kind of play out very similarly in the sense that they play for that Gunblade synergy. A lot of the strength of Mythic will mainly be about maximizing tanks by giving them as much sustain as possible with your Gunblade users. And then I created a third composition down at the bottom, which will kind of splash in a little bit of the porcelain comp. I will be linking the videos to the other compositions here as well, just so that way you can get an idea of how porcelain works, because that trait is also very strong. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments if there's any insight, any feedback that you want to give me. And hopefully you guys will be just as excited as I am for when the set comes out on live, because this trait's been very fun in the PBE. And thank you guys for watching.